I don't want Missing Link to be a console or single player game. I want Missing Link to be a live service game with frequent content updates. Before I explain why the game would infinitely be better this way to me, I need to preface this by saying that I don't play any mobile games. I haven't played a 3D mobile game on a touchscreen device in years, and I'm not into gacha games either. I'm actually pretty opposed to them. I have less than 10 hours on both Genshin Impact and Pokemon Go, so I don't have any bias towards games similar to Missing Link. On Twitter, YouTube comments, and Discord, people have been very vocal about wanting the game to be released on consoles, which I suppose means for them to be turned into single-player experiences without any multiplayer or microtransactions. Due to Missing Link being missing, a lot of creators and fans started spreading hope of Missing Link getting delayed due to the game getting reworked into a console game. As I've observed on social media and throughout a few Discord servers, a bunch of people simply started believing that the game is in fact getting reworked as a console game, and that's why it's taking so long. And I'm guilty of discussing the possibility of ML releasing on the second Switch before too, but if every big creator starts talking about it, the community is just going to be expecting it and spreading this hopeful news to everyone around them, when in reality, there aren't any real signs that point to this being the most likely outcome. With the case of the Switch 2, I was thinking that if they were to reveal that the console had GPS capabilities, it could have a simultaneous release with the mobile version and have crossplay. Tetsuya Nomura actually directly opposed the idea of Missing Link releasing on consoles during a focus group test interview in December of 2023. But of course it has already been almost a year and a half, so plans could have shifted. I'll discuss another few points a little later, but overall, from the interview, I can tell that Nomura and his team are clearly very passionate and optimistic about creating a 3D mobile game, since he said, "We're now in an era where there is practically little to no difference between a smartphone game and a console game, so if we're going to do it on a smartphone, I want it to be something that is unique to smartphones." What he's obviously referring to is the GPS mechanic, which to me is a perfect gameplay integration for the story that they're doing in the next arc, involving Unreality, the world of fiction, Quadratum, whatever you want to call it. Personally, I love it when games drastically change the combat system to accommodate for the story that they're trying to tell, and Kingdom Hearts is obviously no stranger to changing up gameplay to suit the story. They changed the traditional Kingdom Hearts 1 combat system into a card game for Chain of Memories to both accommodate for hardware limitations of the GBA, and to go in tune with the storyline of cards. A lot of people dunk on Calm's combat for being bad, but speaking purely from observations, it seems to me that when people take a little more than 2 seconds to take the time and create a good build, the game can get a lot of fun and easy. I think the problem is that people don't really take the time to learn the mechanics, and the game doesn't give you a good tutorial on how to use the mechanics, leaving the player confused and unmotivated to learn, especially coming from a game that has a completely different combat system. And I'm not some calm enjoyer, I don't ever feel like booting up the game again, but the stories peak. Also, based on the interview I previously mentioned and Mage's personal translations, Nomura says that if they were to make a console game, that would be a separate thing, while this is its own thing. This is obviously just hypothetical talk, but you might ask, why would they go through the trouble of making a game designed for mobile devices if they were just going to turn it into a console game eventually? Well, I'll briefly have to explain how Dark Road and Missing Link came to be. The development for Union Cross was outsourced to Bitgrove, but the main Kingdom Hearts team were still obviously the ones responsible for the story, alongside Nomura as its director. According to an interview when Dark Road first released in 2020, Nomura said that he had ideas for a Xehanort game for years, but they just wouldn't fit with the concepts the rest of the development team wanted. And as he was about to give up on it, the Union Cross team said they wanted to make a game with a new protagonist, and Xehanort unexpectedly had many fans, so thanks to them and the developers, we finally made the game. This makes sense, since to make a AAA game you obviously need many years to refine everything and have the game succeed. Making a Xehanort game would delay any other games further, and the less risky decision was to prioritize development on the next mainline game to satisfy the most fans as possible. Going back to the present Kingdom Hearts games, Kingdom Hearts 3's Varamrex trailer, the Secret Ending, and the final parts of Remind perfectly set up Unreality, the world of fiction. a world described as a fictional world to the Kingdom Hearts characters and real to those on the other side. Although the present Kingdom Hearts characters are only now learning about it, except for probably Yen Sid, he always knows way too much. In Missing Link, characters are seen freely traveling to something that represents our world, using what they call the astral dimension. This introduces a hands-on correlation between the Kingdom Hearts world and Unreality, which is meant to mirror our world. We can directly interact with Unreality by walking around in the real world outside. And I don't know if it's just me, but doesn't this concept sound fascinating if you just turn a blind eye on your pre-existing stigma that mobile game equals bad? People can have fully fledged console games on their phones now, but no one's buying them, making companies see that there isn't an incentive to push games on phones forward and release AAA games day one on phones. So many people are excited about handheld consoles. People buy Steam Decks and other handheld systems. There's millions of people that are excited about the Switch too, yet we all already have a gaming handheld in our pockets at all times, yet criticize mobile gaming. But one of the main reasons why people look down upon mobile games is that they're often filled with annoying microtransactions and gacha elements, which I agree, I think these systems ruin the flow of gameplay. But when developers attempt to expand the medium and release single-player console games, from the research that I've done, there doesn't seem to be any market for these kinds of games. People just aren't buying them. But consumers often rather complain about how mobile games suck instead of actually taking solutions that developers and publishers are trying to help solve. And you know, I'm one of these people too, but I'm not really the target audience because I haven't had a handheld console in over 10 years and don't plan on buying one anytime soon, so having AAA games on my phone doesn't really interest me personally. On a more positive note, and in preparation for Missing Link hopefully releasing soon, there's Joy-Con-like controllers that can turn your phone into a handheld gaming console that you can use to pretend that you're actually playing the game on a Switch or a Switch 2. And since BlueStacks is compatible with most handheld consoles like a Steam Deck or something, you can just boot up the game on there. When discussing why AAA games for iPhones and iPads wasn't a hit, according to this site, smartphone users prefer casual mobile games, as they're usually made with touch controls in mind and are suited for shorter play sessions. I think that this is the sort of ideology that Square Enix used when creating the combat for Union Cross and Dark Road. I think they wanted to break through to a completely different set of people and expand their fanbase, which clearly didn't really work and alienated their existing fanbase, as we can all tell. But this doesn't mean that Union Cross was seen as a failure. Being a 2D gacha game meant that it probably wasn't ever going to be a failure, at least from a commercial perspective, especially considering development costs were probably extremely low. I'll now briefly go over Union Cross's performance reports according to Square Enix's annual fiscal year financial reports. During the 2016 fiscal year, when Union Cross was still called Unchained Key and a Japanese exclusive game, Square Enix wrote, new titles released in the first half of the fiscal year ended March 2016, such as Mobius Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts Unchained, which leveraged key IP, delivered brisk performances throughout the fiscal year. Then, during a 2017 report after Unchained Key was rebranded to Union Cross and released outside of Japan, they commented that the numbers that Union Cross was able to generate in the North American market was a major achievement. 2018 showed that Kingdom Hearts Union Cross was continuing to show a strong performance globally. Damu's State of the Heart 5 podcast featured a very interesting graph showing the amount of players the game had over time, which I'll provide a link to in the description if you're interested. Just think about all the content updates they can do, considering they were attempting to get the game to release a little after May last year, with the Ichiban lottery going to be the time pre-registrations were going to start. I think they were planning on releasing worlds to coincide with new Disney movies. There was a Snow White world presented in a trailer shown behind closed doors, and Snow White was originally supposed to release in early 2024, but due to the SAG-AFTRA strikes, it was delayed to March of this year. I think they were planning to release a new Disney world alongside new Disney movies. Union Cross received new medals alongside new Disney movie releases. So, at the very least, I think we'll see character pieces to accommodate new Disney and Pixar movies. Alternatively, they could create a single-player game that releases in episodes, and while I think this would satisfy the Western audience a lot more, I don't think it'd be the best business decision due to the amount of money gacha games make. And I know that shouldn't really concern me as a fan, but I'm just making an observation on how Square Enix would potentially think about this matter. And according to Pocket Gamer, Japan generates 50% of worldwide geolocation game spending, so there's very clearly a huge market for GPS games in Japan. Dragon Quest Walk generated $30 million last year, so I'm sure Missing Link wouldn't be a failure as a mobile game. Whenever a movie, show, or game has tons of hype around it and eventually releases all in one go, that's all we have. Whatever mystery this media creates is probably mostly resolved by the end. Thankfully, Kingdom Hearts is a series that only likes giving us crumbs, allowing for tons of theorizing even when the game is over. But whatever mystery the game creates throughout its main story is all mostly resolved by the end. If Kingdom Hearts had monthly episodes releasing, similar to that of Coded and Dark Road, we'd be able to theorize about every little story update. Imagine 358 over 2 days released today with monthly story updates. The start of the game doesn't really tell us who Xion is, so the community would be able to theorize on who she is, and we'd get our answer that she's a replica and a puppet just a few months later. TV shows that don't drop all at once have the ability to create intrigue and create a community to dissect each episode and create theories around them. I don't just mean shows that end with cliffhangers and then resolve them in the first minute of the next episode, I mean long-running mysteries, kinda like Severance. Similarly structured mysteries that Kingdom Hearts creates and answers in each new title. I saw the perfect representation of this in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. Because Union Cross had periodic updates, each update often both created new mysteries and answers. When Strelitzia died, the community went wild, creating theories on who the culprit might be. Now, one of Union Cross's main flaws was that there were often many months between each update, but Nomura's already said that the goal for Missing Link is not to have this issue, so I'm sure they're cooking up years worth of content. Union Cross's final update before Kingdom Hearts 3 dropped gave us a cliffhanger revealing Elorena being in the game. Then, Kingdom Hearts 3 kept teasing us that these characters have an ancient Keyblade legacy. This teased the Union Cross fans and confused those that skipped Union Cross. Union Cross fully ended with the Master of Masters explaining his grand plan and saw him directly referencing the world of fiction. If Union Cross were to drop all at once in like 2016, the mystery of Kingdom Hearts 3's ending wouldn't be as fulfilling. We needed the building blocks of Kingdom Hearts 3 and Melody of Memory to slowly build us towards Union Cross's finale, and I'm sure Kingdom Hearts 4 will give us necessary building blocks for the latter half of Missing Link that releases after 4. I've already said this like twice before, but people think Missing Link is supposed to bridge the gap between Kingdom Hearts 3 and 4, but I think Missing Link will release half a year to a year before Kingdom Hearts 4. This would allow ML's final story update before KH4 to reveal a huge twist that ties into KH4. Then, people will go play Kingdom Hearts 4 and learn new lore, allowing ML to incorporate elements introduced in 4 and lead us into Kingdom Hearts 5. This creates an interesting dynamic and structure that would be lost if Missing Link were to drop all at once as a single-player title. And it wouldn't allow Missing Link to bridge into Verum Rex or Kingdom Hearts 5, which I personally believe will be the final game of the Lost Masters arc and Sora's story. If there's games that can stand on their own without sequels yet have an amazing complex world and story, like Final Fantasy XVI and Metaphor ReFantasia to name 2, I'm sure Kingdom Hearts can end the Lost Masters arc in 2 mainline titles and like 2 non-numbered titles. A lot of you watching this video probably played or watched everything new from the Missing Link beta from last year, but another portion of you probably haven't. For those that haven't or missed it, I want to mention that the character Nept indirectly confirmed that a Pinocchio world is going to be the first Disney world we visit. And this world was actually shown in a trailer shown behind closed doors in December 2023 when the latest iOS beta was happening. Taking into consideration that the team working on Missing Link is a team specifically made to create a mobile experience and that they're really passionate about all the multiplayer features and already created tons of outfits and probably mapped out future content updates, the perfect solution in my mind would be to simply port the existing game to PC, consoles, and the Switch too. Due to the aforementioned reasons, I don't think they should rework the entire game, considering at the moment the GPS system is how the game is mostly balanced around. The betas already show that by gathering AP, you can freely travel across the astral dimension without going outside. So a solution for those only playing on PC would be to increase the amount of points that they get while not playing on a mobile device. This would somewhat make up for not getting any AP through walking around. But if I were to make the game myself and balance everything, I wouldn't make the game too comfortable to exclusively play on consoles or PC. This way I'd tempt players to get the game on their phone and play on their way to work, school, or grocery shopping to gather additional AP. A lot of the community didn't have a million different consoles growing up, so they might have missed a few of the games locked to a certain platform. But I'm sure everyone has a phone or tablet, so this would literally be the most accessible Kingdom Hearts game. Addressing counterpoints. There's only two benefits I see for Missing Link being a single player console experience. Those being no gacha elements, which of course would be great, and that there wouldn't be a chance for the game to be shut down and never playable again. I think these two are very fair reasons to want the game made for consoles, but they can release it as a console game after all of its story content has come out. Since I think story-wise the best way to experience it is through content updates that lead us to Kingdom Hearts 4 and beyond. I recently discovered and posted some information that the lead programmer for Missing Link publicly disclosed on their website portfolio, and saying that this got some attention would be an understatement. I don't really want to make specific news videos since there's already a bunch of YouTubers that can do that for you, and I don't see the point in being just another Kingdom Hearts news channel and take views away from them. But I did want to highlight the reason for why Missing Link was turned into a mobile game in the first place from a development perspective. Missing Link was a result of a pitch made by one of Union Cross's producers and another Square Enix employee who made experimental builds of the Toy Story demo, who would then go on and be the lead programmer for Missing Link. He clarified that Missing Link is being built entirely from scratch to be optimized for mobile devices. So Missing Link wasn't a story that Nomura specifically created and then Square Enix decided that the best thing to do was to shove it onto phones. This information is the only part of the video, aside from the outro, that I'm writing after finding the website. It's very funny to me that I had the idea for this video before seeing the enormous amount of fans overreacting all over again about Missing Link being a mobile game and that it uses Unreal Engine 5. I made a reply to the original tweet saying that Unreal Engine 5 doesn't immediately imply that the game is going to have insane visuals, but not many people seem to notice or care. I guess Epic Games succeeded at making Unreal Engine appear premium and pristine, considering everyone thinks that the title Unreal Engine 5 is immediately supposed to magically transform everything and make it look good without involving any manual human effort. Or alternatively, that working with Unreal Engine 5 would force developers to make the game look good and run bad. Any game engine is just a tool. They probably switched to Unreal 5 to optimize the game even further. One of the key areas that UE 5.5's update wanted to improve upon was mobile gaming. Them switching to UE5 also means that they'd have an easier time importing assets from Missing Link to Kingdom Hearts 4 and vice versa. Lastly, I just wanted to share my personal opinions on the topic. If they didn't incorporate the GPS system in such a pivotal way to this story, I would have loved Missing Link to be a console and PC MMO. But I have hope that either at the end of the Lost Masters arc or after it ends, we can get a Master of Masters prequel MMO. If the Kingdom Hearts games don't give Mom a canon design outside just his coat, it could mean that the MMO could have us create the design for him. Mom's backstory is very unknown, and since the world was connected before the Keyblade War, it'd be very interesting to see something like an open world game with all the Disney worlds being areas on one big explorable map. I want to make videos that stand out and talk for the community that doesn't have a voice. These are the exact things that others and I have been saying in Discord servers for months, but we didn't have the platform to voice our thoughts. And to address some of the hate that I've been getting and people calling me a liar, I've been on the internet for way too long to give those people any thoughts. But to those that I've contacted privately, do know that I'm taking your feedback into consideration. You know, the content that I want to make is not something that I can just go sit down and write all in one go. I usually write like 5 pages, then take a few days to gather more information to support my topics and then make rewrites. I want to carefully mentally storyboard my videos to keep the viewer entertained, engaged, and perfectly understand what it is that I'm trying to inform them about. Then, during the editing process, if I'm unsatisfied with what I've written, I rewrite and I voice everything again. So I'm really happy to have all of you people commenting, replying, and telling me that you've enjoyed my content and agree with it. Everything that I said in my last video should have been abundantly clear, yet it's kind of funny to me that I've seen response videos directed towards mine. That Doom posting video was originally written about 2 weeks before the 3-year anniversary of the reveal of these games, and I predicted that people would make videos about them. And my main point of this isn't to dunk on other Kingdom Hearts creators and the way they make their videos, because you guys are my main source of inspiration. There's a few theory-related channels that I'd like to mention and highlight in my next Sigurd video to show my gratitude and thanks for inspiring me. I already have tons of things ready to talk about, I just need time to create everything to the degree that I'd be satisfied with. I wanted to clarify something for those unaware and those that might have seen me before I started KHML Tomorrow. Although my name on my socials are KHML Tomorrow, I go by Purple outside social media, so if you see my name or this icon, hey, that's me. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning.